The following video is a product review. The review is for Sentry branded, great sound metalbuds, metal stereo earbuds with mic, deluxe tangle-free cord, great sound extra pads, 3.5 millimeter plug, noise isolation, stereo sound, and tangle-free. Those are all the keywords or buzzwords or tags that you find on the packaging if you could read it properly. It's a really basic set of headphones, and it's bad for the following reasons. Mono test failed. That means when I played back a recording that is quite literally the same signal going to each ear of a wide range of frequencies in ordinary conversation, music, modern and classical, it doesn't matter. The sounds appear to come from different locations when in mono mode they're not supposed to be able to do that. That only indicates one thing, that each of the driver elements, their 10 millimeter standard earbud mini speakers, micro speakers, all they have to be for the first test is not be completely different frequency ranges. And I mean, it's not audiophile problem. It makes it to where the instruments, voices or whatever, appear to sweep across or be in completely different locations, when by definition in mono, they're supposed to be dead in the middle. This is not a complicated thing to discuss. I'm not going to discuss it any further, and it is something you just need to look up and test. I will have a link, if I can find it, to mono test sounds that are complex. The reason you use complex ones is if you hear something off to the left or the right, that means it's failed. It's an immediate fail. So we'll talk about the rest. The sound level, volume level, is different from one to the other overall. When compensating for that, then you get either highs or lows or different frequency bands that show up over here versus here. There is a way of doing something like that where you take a mono sound and arbitrarily split the different notes from right to left to make it have a fake stereo effect, but it's not really useful. And I'm not talking about soundstage or any other hoi polloi stuff. We're talking about if I feed both ears the same music, the same audio that's identical, literally bit for bit perfect, it's not supposed to be different. And yes, someone will inevitably come up with some ghost in the machine argument below in the description. There's nothing says audiophile like proselytizing mythology about sound. The next thing about these is they were $7 or such, and taking them out, they failed that first test. I'm emphasizing playing the audio in both ears that is identical by literally wiring the left and right channel wires to each other through a mono connection. That you take audio in and it just puts the same signal into both sides. It would move different notes or different sound ranges to each side. That means that the elements are not consistent. That means they weren't made not just from not the same run. They're not the same variety of speaker. They're very inconsistent. The quality control is garbage. And it will be massively annoying. Now, what I use these for? I gave it away. I play video games. I need to have my hearing in order to be able to hear where the sound is coming from. Now, by comparison, a set of earbuds that I got the last time I was able to find a good set is these. That's a piece of tape holding this one on because the microphone thing finally caught enough times, incessantly caught on things, that it finally tore itself loose and I had to solder the wires together. If you're not aware of it, the braided or not braided wire that contains plastic filaments and stuff like that to strengthen it, that they make the headphones out of, is extremely low quality these days. Even 2 years ago. They're always bad. You always know that this is supposed to be what breaks first. And in order to change the wire up here, you have to crack them apart, hoping you don't damage the speaker element, the driver, and you always do. This one up here I just did a couple of days ago because the wire broke here. You know, it's 2 years old, it's going to break. The reason I haven't gotten rid of them is, this is the only shit I can buy. Yes, it was at a dollar store. It was actually Dollar General. It doesn't matter where it was. Sentry should not be allowed to put out a product that fails a basic audio test to make sure that both ear elements are the same. Now, someone out there, I know this because someone will do this, because opposite day, because people need desperately to have an opinion and sound like an expert. Someone will post in the comment section eventually that the ears are different. And one is supposed to be phased for, and they're going to come up with some hoi polloi shit eventually. Or you're going to find a video like that some other person's posted about something else, but they're going to talk about that. No. I'm a technical person. Everybody needs to be more technical and fact-based. If you're an audiophile, you're an idiot. No one cares what you think or feel. Go fuck yourself. Have fun buying your $500 headphones that do not do anything good. Sennheisers have a pass. Even though they're snooty, they're actually very fucking good. And they're actually worth the money simply because of the warranty. But other than that, a $5 set of earbuds should not be that bad. $7 especially. I'm going to take it back to the place and say, yeah, I want to trade for another pair. And I'll do another review. It's a dollar store. They're going to have bad earphone quality. Now, here's the funny part. 1 in 100 of these will, by definition, there's not that much variation. If you're not aware, but there's a set of rules of how you... it's called the resistor rule. It's the joke about the 5% resistor being really 1% resistors. They're just 1% on each side of the, when you test a bunch of things for quality control, you'll find things that are outside of what you want here. And what you want here, you test them plus or minus 1%. And those are the ones that are good, right? But the ones that are bad, they're really just another band of bad, but all very precisely bad in this way, or all very precisely bad in this way. These earphones could be from those two batches. If a company is doing things right, they'll match them properly by finding the ones that are dead on what they're supposed to be for spec, and then off spec by 5%, which is commonly available in the speaker industry, will just have a different sound. As long as they're matched, they're fine. Super matched pairs is another term for it, where you have parts that you know are going to have some variation to them, but you find the ones that happen to be matched up. It doesn't matter why. We don't care as long as they're matched. Push and pull amplifiers. A good example in audio and also in radio transmitters. Here's your ideal right here in the middle of the screen. But you had a huge bundle of them that are exactly off this much, which means they're matched for each other. So if you use those two elements, let's say they're amplifier, operational amplifiers or something, you can use them in pairs and they'll sound fine because they don't have any defects compared to each other. And that's where we get into relative pitch and relative quality. If these sucked exactly the same way in each ear, it would pass the first test of mono testing. Mono testing only means they sorted them. They put in the effort to sort them. No, that doesn't mean that you as the consumer need to buy 17 pairs of these to find two driver elements that work and then start soldering. That's just not happening. However, when it comes to the electronics industry, when we get speakers, when I would build a speaker set, if I'm building a pair of stereo speakers, I'll buy 4 or 6 of them because I'll find 2 that match perfectly. Bam, done. I don't have to dick with them. I don't care if they're off spec or not. They're matching each other. Same thing with the tweeters. I'll buy a bunch of them. And out of 6 of them, I'll find pairs that are sold that don't match each other, but will match other pairs I buy. And I can make a bad situation very good. And you end up with really well-balanced speakers. This is a trick, if you're not aware. That is the trick to making good speakers. It's not that you trust that they're going to keep it consistent. They're not going to. They're going to keep it narrowly consistent here, and then the off-brands will be very consistent among each other, except you're going to have to buy it from each of them. If the driver elements out of these things came from a specific company and we knew which one it was, then maybe we'd be able to sort them. But again, that means cutting a wire and soldering. It's not easy to solder this shit. It just isn't. Don't start. I'll have a video about it, but use flux. The flux makes it to where as you burn off the conformal coating, it chemically forces the solder to bond with it, and you can get a connection that works. Unless you have proper tools for this, like you really do need to have a specialized set to do this, you're not going to be able to do it. When they make these things, they're making these wires work against their will because they have an advantage. They're more durable. Again, my headphones here last 2 fucking years. I'm just throwing them at the screen and tossing them on the ground and stepping on them. They still work. Even though they're both damaged, they pass the mono test almost. They're now bad enough I have to replace them. I do a mono test with my headphones every few months to make sure that they're not out of spec with each other. One of the tricks with them is it's going to be the Nintendo cartridge thing. Blow in and suck on it. Just shut up. And force the diaphragm to move correctly. You're all making jokes now. And then you can hear with them, keep them working a little while. I'm a poor person, grew up poor. I will forever act poor. That means I'm not spending money unless I need to. And that means that if I get screwed out of $7 worth or more, or $2, I'm going to take it back and say, yeah, I'd like to exchange it for one that isn't complete garbage. And the fact is, I remembered that I bought these by accident a year ago when I was trying to place these the first time. That's when I decided to just solder the parts together and kept using them. Next, a quality control complaint. When you look up mono test or mono test sounds or mono music, you find there's a company named Mono that puts out music. A couple of them that have that. You'll find a band or two with the word mono in their name. Google and YouTube will almost aggressively not let you listen to monophonic music, which is what you have to look up. Mono or monaural or monophonic. It's monophonic or monaural audio test. And it has to be music-based. Because then you'll easily hear that there's a difference between your headphones. Next, most of you out there don't want to do these kind of tests because you just don't want to know. iPhones, the little earbuds you get with them, Bluetooth or not, tend to be good enough to do this. Yes, if it's Bluetooth, it's supposed to be better. The elements are equally shitty. A bunch of people have done this test. Now, one of the things you may not see is audiophiles and experts testing with a wide range of sound and dynamic range. That means you're going to be listening to techno and funk. Those will test your earbuds to see if they clatter or crackle or whatever too. They don't abusively test their headphones. They act like somehow, oh no, they're really expensive, therefore they're made out of like tissue paper. If you see somebody doing a review like that, put in, I'm never watching your channel again, you're frou-frou, or whatever wording you want to use. Let's use frou-frou, something like that. Audiophiles are dumb. They just don't do them. If you find a technician who says, first thing we're going to do is a mono test, right then and there you know you're getting a lot better review. If it sounds different from one ear to another when you're playing exactly the same signal in, there's something wrong with the headphones. An argument in the past was made for sound systems and connectors that would make it to where the right channel, this is my right ear by the way, versus the left channel would have a different audio level. Because originally, the right channel, because it was the next band down from the tip, could be shorted out. Because people still used monaural audio plugs. That's just got one channel, plugs in, and it shorts out the right channel. So there'd be a resistor in series. So there would be a difference. That hasn't been done in over 20 years, so that's not an excuse if you typed it. Now, here we are at the 12-minute and 45-second mark. If you typed it's because it's a resistor to prevent shorting out mono headphones on a stereo jack, you won the booby prize. So yeah, stop making excuses for shitty products if any of you did it. Next, do a mono test. I'll have a link, as many as I can find, to monophonic audio sources to test your headphones. Next, if a company puts out a set of headphones this bad, call them out publicly on social media for making bad headphones because they can't pass the monophonic or monaural audio test. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And again, that was Sentry metalbuds, and they're garbage.